Hello everybody, this is Zerda with Zerda MTG, and I'm here today with another little bit of a deck tech and video for you. Once again in the standard format. And here we're playing the Mutate deck. We aren't playing a Luna, although that is a very good card. I'm trying to basically see if it's worth getting the Luna, see if the shell is worth this. This is a testing video where we're testing the cards around it, not so much the full-powered version. Full-powered version would basically be if we had more of this. And for those of you unfamiliar, let me just go ahead and look, including not collected. Gold. There we go. It is whenever this creature mutates, exile cards from top of your library until you exile a non-land permanent card. Put that card onto the battlefield or into your hand. So basically, you mutate this onto something, preferably Paradise Druid who has hexproof, and then you proceed to just keep doing that, putting more things down. This gets to be a little bit more powerful, but this, provides the redundancy. And you do it with one, then you do it again and again. And it's just a pretty powerful thing to be doing. I'm playing Uro just as kind of wrath protection, because playing against the deck I was realizing it seemed pretty soft to wraths. It puts basically everything into play, and then if you could, wipe it up, it's all gone. But that said, it's also... Hold on, why am I only playing 3? Oh, I remember, alright. Because I was going to give that a try, but I don't think I am. I think I'd rather have more payoff here. Just kind of using these as combo cards until you can hit your end raise forerunners. And it's just kind of playing a rampy combo deck in blue-green. So let's go ahead, run into a league, and see if I will later on be playing the full-powered version of this. Did I say league? Haven't played one of those in a while. Alright, tried the reanimator upgrade. Not doing it right now. Just Guy Luca's in a few too many places, and you don't want your end raise forerunners getting stolen. Don't really want anything in this deck stolen either, but sometimes it's just gonna happen. And so this is a keep. I'm playing against, I imagine, Luca. So let's just hope it isn't. And if we draw an untapped land, we get to go Arboreal Grazer into Uro. We'd prefer these were our Risen Reefs, but alas. Kind of just using Risen Reef as a way to continue fueling up, getting cards in your hand. Alright, so that is what we wanted. Although I'm not sure it's going to matter unless we get to do something absurdly broken against this deck. We don't want the 5th land like that. It'd be nicer if we had drawn the Strix, obviously. Or what's it called? The Parcel Beast, but alas, cannot just have everything. Oh yes. Already played land. Here's a Teferi.
I know my responsibility.
Go ahead and down tick. Thank you.
Let's try this.
So I imagine I'm just going to play out the Sterix. Not what I want to do, but double triggering it isn't the worst thing in the world. We hardly have any blue, and we already have a second blue source, so we're not too worried about that. On the other hand, we could just play the Grazer out. No. I'd rather get a double trigger next turn. And be able to hit Teferi. We can get punished here. And get no triggers out of it, but if that's what happens to us, that's what happens to us. There's fires. There's a Narset. This doesn't draw cards though, so.
Meditate. Prepare.
Ooh, a whiff. That's rare.
No, I am not making this up as I go.
Sure, you're not, Teferi. Alright, so we could double trigger or we could try... No, that's not gonna. So we're gonna try and double trigger and see what we hit here. I'll put it over, not that it changes actual anything. So, a grazer as a body in case this lives and we get to, you know, steal. Probably should have hit the Narset there instead. I was still thinking about the bounce. I don't really want them resetting it, I guess. But in case we hit End Rays off of our next mutate, then we're gonna want that. Alas, maximum punished. Definitely should have hit the Narset.
If you wish to surrender,
Woohoo!
I am keep an open mind.
So like I said, did feel a little weak to sweepers. Island. And let's see, what's cheaper? I think it's... Can we do both either way? Yeah, we can do both this way. And we're still going to end up with 2 bodies, but we'll end up with an extra land this way. So I'm going to do it the way that gets us more. Grab our last island. Also note, Risen Reef is capable of, air quotes, drawing us cards through a Narset, because it doesn't actually draw cards, it puts them into our hand. A petty distinction that the rules of Magic seem to care a great deal about. Alright. And what are you doing, opponent? Luca. Well, this might be the end. I'd have done that first. What if you don't? Oh, they have a creature no matter what. I think we're going to concede to the Yorion here. Oh no, to the ability. Yeah, we're not winning this game, if I'm being completely honest, and I don't exactly want to play this out against an Agent of Treachery every turn for a while. Especially they have the Yorion. We all know how this goes. They wrathed me and cleaned it up. I wish there was a indestructible creature we could use as a mutate enabler. Or that I could play against something besides Jeskai Luka these days. On the play against, I'm assuming, Jeskai Luka. If we get lucky and draw a land, then we get to put a Parcel Beast on our Arboreal Grazer, start drawing cards, drop a Paradise Druid, and proceed to hold it up until we can mutate something good onto it. I'll try it. This has potential. And if not, we start taking the safer play of putting things on our Paradise Druid. That should be a Scryland. I don't have all of my temples yet. So that would have made it a little more likely we hit, you know, something relevant. Alright, I'll drop Paradise Druid, which allows me to grind a little bit better. Oof, getting maximum punished. Alright, so because I don't want to fall too far behind, I'm going to put the Parcel Beast on top of the Grazer. I'll be more than happy to get Essence Scattered here. Makes it a little less likely that this is actually Luka. It's almost assuredly Luka, but this is a risk. It is a calculated risk. Because I'm not entirely sure I can win this if I don't do something. Zor. Oh. Am I playing against just actual control here? I'd be more than happy for this to just be control. I'm also swinging in because a Wrath will kill us either way. Play out the Polywog Symbiote. I'm not gonna attack here though. Now they're holding up Shark, and I don't want to get sharked. Before I was safe from that because of them tapping out for counterspells. So are they gonna discard a enchantment or? Nope, 2 cards. Card is very powerful. Let's say a control card. Especially with how many enchantments there are that you just don't really mind discarding. Imagine the Polywog's gone. Which is a shame, it was bringing us pretty close to trumpeting Gnar. I'd like to just draw lands here. I would like to try and get lucky here, I suppose. It's really our only shot. We haven't drawn lands for a while. We are on only 24 lands, but you don't want to go too high when you start trying to combo off. There we go. So I'm not entirely positive what the right number is. Could be 24, I think it is. We have the Paradise Druid, the Risen Reef, the Parcel Beasts, ways to draw cards as long as we hit our 3rd land drop. Yeah. Things are getting pretty bad for us, but we're not gonna get too worried yet. Our opponent doesn't have a way to start pulling ahead unless this is a Dream Trawler, at which point we are oh so royally screwed. Alright, Teferi.
Sorry I'm late.
If you bounce anything, I'm fine with that. Means that we have a decent chance of being able to kill the Teferi. I do believe that was a correct play from them, but still, I am more than happy about it. Right. So go ahead and hit Teferi, hopefully. I do believe we'll be trumpeting Gnarring onto the Arboreal Grazer, despite it being very vulnerable. Right, so there, we didn't play around Shark Typhoon. We knew it was a possibility, but we kind of needed to get that Teferi off the board to avoid the possibility of instant speed Wraths. Somewhat tempted here to play Uro and try and hit a land for the Paradise Druid. Because that would just make our next turn way better. Actually, I think I'm... Yeah. Because we're just so far behind against a control deck, basically at parity against a control deck is far behind. It's not at all where you want to be, because the late game's going to favor them. Although I suppose it could favor us, depending on the number of counterspells they have. This is interesting. I'm not going to play the Gnar, but Uro into a land dropping Paradise Druid is a lot better than Paradise Druid into and then having to use it potentially. And it also tries to get us another land for next turn, but I think, no. Because of our plans, the Paradise Druid is the best shot. And I'm no longer going to
Don't worry.
trumpeting Gnar onto the Grazer to turn into a real creature without the Elemental. The number of creatures for the Endrays just isn't really there right now.
I have practiced against many foes in life. Hone your prowess.
Maybe I should be playing more Uro instead of trumpeting Gnars. trying to just get more cards. Card does actual nothing against us. I'm pretty sure we don't have a single non-creature spell in this deck. We are all in on our combo. Not bad. Not great. Alright, so now I'm gonna mutate onto the, despite what I was saying, I'm gonna mutate onto the Gnar because we don't want to lose our Paradise Druid if they decide to kill it in response. There we go. It not only makes it a real creature, but it lets us attack Teferi. If we'd drawn the land, we wouldn't have. We'd have even just let the Teferi go. We're gonna try and, in fact, we're gonna worry about the Gnar set now. It's not exactly where I want to be, but I don't want them looking at the top 4 cards again. And stopping our Uro. Which does mean, if we draw a land, I imagine I'm going to Sterix the Gnar. Be able to really get in there for a bit more. Potentially hit Endrays. Be able to start swinging in for something approximating lethal. Survive a turn, but then we'll have a few threats that'll be able to start cleaning things up.
Trust me, I have a plan.
Alright, so now this is going to be the most critical danger turn. Most dangerous critical turn. If we get to untap and draw a land, nope, that's exactly what I was saying. Then without a Wrath, then we're good. If they have a Wrath, no. They could have done that at instant speed to us, but I suppose, no, that's right, because these cost less when you mutate usually. Good news is if we can clear the Gnar set, then we have an active Uro. I think this is the more important card, which makes me hesitant to play it now. But I think I also have to play it. It's gonna get absorbed, I imagine. That or Teferi bounced. I imagine absorbed simply because this is a card they want off the board no matter what happens. So they might not have absorb, or they're just, they don't have many ways to use their mana and want to do it next turn. I'm just testing this deck out because I've seen it floating around. Me playing something is by no means an endorsement of a deck.
Oh, I've done the hero thing.
I just wanted to see why I was seeing this deck floating around so much. And maybe if it had the Illumina, it would be a lot better. But I played a few games before this. Mind you, they were all against Jeskai Luka. And not exactly something I'd be happy to play.
I've got it.
Alright. Let's see. That is my Polywog. It's under there. Deploy the Gnar. No. I feel like this is walking right into what my opponent wants me to do no matter what I do here. But it's not like I have many choices. And I think my best bet is this surviving and mutating onto it multiple times next turn. Meaning I'd have to Gnar and hit a land and then Parcel Beast. So not great. Not great odds. Also, our opponent's just gonna bounce it anyway. Oh boy. So we're basically just playing this one out until it becomes evident that our opponent is going to kill us.
Try this.
Because right now they're not really, like, they're very far ahead, but they're not actually putting us under pressure yet, and they haven't demonstrated any kind of a lock. I don't think deploying double is how we win. If we had another land, I'd consider deploying double trumpeting Gnar so that we could then end raise and deal some real damage. But as it stands, I think, unfortunately, we're still on the dropping auspicious Sterix plan and hoping for the best. How far the Elks have fallen, though. Used to be you couldn't look at a game of Magic without him, and now Teferi's just laughing in 3-mana Planeswalker. The Elks used to be the 3-mana Planeswalker, and I'm glad they no longer are. Ugh, play enough Legacy to have to deal with Oko. I don't need it in Standard too. Or at least I did play enough. Haven't exactly since the quarantine, so there's that. Alright.
I'll protect you.
Do have a route to victory, it's just not going to happen. Alright. There's the first gong of us losing. Especially because our opponent is nowhere near running out of cards and they can reset it. And they now have us under pressure. I'll give it one more turn. And yeah, that's not anything we can use, so let's go ahead and pack that one up and show you guys some better content. You guys and gals. Alright. We'll play 2 more games with this. I'm not exactly liking what it's doing to my to my rank. I'd like to still be platinum when things reset so I can get my reward. Every pack and wild card counts when you are behind on wild cards and making content because, let me tell you, you run through them fast when you're doing this stuff. Alright, let's see. No companion. Turn 2 Risen Reef, I suppose. Well, not even a turn 2 Risen Reef, because we'd have to draw an untapped land. So let's play in a way that if we draw an untapped land, we will be happy. Ho-ho! It's doing a thing. And so is this. Absolutely, I will ramp. Look at this, we're already at 4 lands. Magic is fun. Uh-oh. Oh boy. Let's start going to town. Alright, so apparently this is what the deck is supposed to do. And if we draw 1 more land, still I know, still need more land. We're already at 5. Our opponent's at 2. We want more land though. And then we'd be able to Sterix and start absolutely going to town here. Alright. We are in no rush. If I have to take 4, I'll take 4. Would've been nice to even draw another Risen Reef there. We don't have many synergies, but Parcel Beast Risen Reef is pretty nice. So I think this is the kind of matchup we want to face. Because it seems like decks that don't have anything they can do against us are going to be pretty powerful. I think we're doing one of the strongest things you can be that doesn't involve non-creature spells. And we do have enough early game interaction. And what do we hit? 2 lands. Not actually bad, because we do need those for our raise ends. Another Starks, however, would still be our best draw, although I think we're just going to deploy raise end Forerunner and start putting our opponent on notice here. End raise into end raise is a very powerful thing to do. I see you're 5/4, and I will raise you an end raise. End raise you, in fact. Eight. I feel like attacking with everything is correct here. I'll lose some things, but I do have vigilance. My opponent's going to have to lose most of their board. And next turn I have another end raise anyway. So I see no reason to let my opponent keep more blockers than needed around. And there you have it. Alright, that might be why people play this, is against creature decks. Alright. And I could see the Aluna there also being really good, being able to do things earlier. I'm also interested in seeing if there's a potential just ramp deck in Standard in blue-green. Obviously I'd still want some elemental synergies, but I think being able to Grazer into Parcel Beast or into one of the 3 drops, either Uro or Risen Reef, is pretty powerful and something I want to explore. I just don't think I know of the cards that are around for that. Ooh, I just realized I could be an Umori deck. Everything in here is creature. Alright, let's hope our opponent isn't doing what we're doing. So there's my first mistake. Should have been Umori. Not a good sign of our opponent not being what we are, but you know, the likely better version. Don't imagine they left out a color. Once you get this high up, and once you hit gold even, you don't seem to hit many budget versions of decks, which is why I must be a nice treat for all of these people. Alright, so Trumpeting Gnar, 5 mana to get it going. I think I have better hits than that. Maybe I should even be playing Sea Dasher Octopus. Alright, I'm gonna mutate on and start swinging in. Here's a movie. Yeah, I suppose I'd be playing both my lands this turn anyway. So let's see what we hit. And we don't want a Polywog, we want more mutates. The Euros have been interesting. I'm not sure I'd actually play them though. Because as you saw, against control it was going to be basically our only threat post-Wrath. And Uro is a really good threat to have around post-Wrath. That being said, you don't really fuel it. Oh. That's interesting. Thought you'd have put it on the Paradise Druid for hexproof. Oh no, blocks. And I'm kind of tempted to just Arboreal Grazer, hit them for 5, and then try and hit them for lethal next turn. Especially if they're gonna play fast and loose as that. Huh. Yeah, it just does so much more damage this way. Maybe I'll replace the Uros with Brazen Borrowers so we actually get some interaction in here. And a way to give whatever we mutate flying. I will not block. And I will Endres had hoped that would be a land, so that would stay untapped itself, but alas. Don't need to play around anything, we know they're all creatures. Give them the thanks there. They're gonna find some blockers. Ho ho! Agent. Alright. And we have... You know, that's why I should just have them auto-muted. Alright, let's see. I was originally going to concede, but now I might make them actually play it out. Salt doesn't pay. Let's see. If we swing here, we just get eaten. So let's see if we can do this. There's still a chance we win, I just don't think it's a very good one. And don't be a salty Sam. Don't be whoever this person is. And... block there. Sorry about that, didn't quite get to the mute button in time for the sneeze. No attacks. Don't think we can survive here. We're gonna try though. So that will go there. That will go there. That will go there. And we're dead. I don't know how we blocked, but so be it. And we'll get in for one more game. So there, getting Agent of Treachery I think is also something I need, and something I hadn't actually seen in this deck before. However, being significantly underpowered version of this, I think I'm gonna switch over to something else to give you guys the last game. I'm gonna go into traditional ranked. Accidentally submitted this under the wrong thing, and let's see how Drago Control goes this time. My next video will be on Is It Blitz again. I haven't quite figured out what I want to change, but I think the meta has shifted again into a place that I'm fine with basically whatever. I'm gonna mulligan against an Eorian deck. This just isn't gonna do it. This is significantly worse, but I'm not gonna go lower against a Eorian deck. It just seems like a recipe for disaster. Just try and hit my land drops until I can get there. don't think that on 5 we're going to beat a Yorion deck either. Especially not if they kept 7. That means they have a pretty good hand. So I was on the let's try and just hit our first few land drops, see if we can hold them off with negate and such until such a time as we're actually able to win. You know, keep making them after we've held them off on Fires and Lucas. As it stands, I think our chances are basically 0. There we go. I think I'm actually gonna let them have a Fires of Invention here. It's things like their action cards I'm gonna need to act on when I'm this far behind on mana. That being said, that card is I can answer it with Scorching Dragonfire though. Gonna have to let them have the card. Use my cards efficiently.
I have just the trick for this.
Not what I wanted to do. It's still a 2-for-1 for them.
My mind needs a rest.
But I'm gonna need that negate a lot more later. Alright, I might double shock the first thing that presents itself. Have to let that happen. I believe countering the Fires of Invention there just leaves me a little too soft to anything else that might happen. And I need to focus on keeping things like Luca off the board. Hope we draw another negate soon here. Alright, so resolve. They use the ability, we double shock.
If you will not see things my way.
Then we'll kill the Luca with the Blitz on our turn. Waiting for our opponent here. Alright, we're starting to hit our stride. Let's see. Maybe... No. I'm saying maybe we let them down tick again so they don't just play another Luca and use the shark, but I don't think that's getting us where we need to be. We have 2-for-1'd ourselves a few times, but they are technically down a card because Fires of Invention isn't really a, it doesn't actually do anything in play other than let you do everything else. But that is where we are. Should say, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. But in all honesty, this is not the greatest of videos I've put out, I'm aware. Imagining most of you clicked out after the first. Whew! Alright, we're done. That is the one thing about letting them have the fires. Is double spelling is very dangerous. There's the negate. If they play the Yorion, we'll just counter it. We'll continue to take our beats for now. Alright. I think there's no way around this, we just lose. So I'm gonna concede as soon as they play the Yorion here. Actually, we're not quite dead. I think we have a few more land drops. Like a land drop killing the, Alright, no, now we're just out of it. Let's go ahead and give it to them. They also have a source of card advantage, so we're not going to stay at parity during all of this, so move on. And the sideboard. Source for Spyglass I like in this matchup. Mystical Dispute I like in this matchup. I don't actually like Aethergust here. Counters Luca. That's it. Deals with Luca. I do kind of like Chandra against more controlling decks, but I don't like it against agent decks, which is basically all the controlling decks, so maybe I shouldn't have actually played this. Alright, let's drop the shocks. Drop. What else do we not want? Suppose we can drop a Rowl's Outburst. Let's drop 2. And a Scorching. Let's go up a Rowl's Outburst and drop another Scorching, actually. Keeping Scorching because it can help deal with Teferi. Same reason with Blitz and Rowl's Outburst just being a card advantage way to do the same thing. Note, Zerda is no longer my companion because I brought in the Sorceress Spyglasses. So I do lose out on the free extra card, but so be it. I think it's important to be able to stop their White Castle and their Luca. Waiting on our opponent here. Next video, as I said earlier, will be Is It Blitz? Just waiting till that can happen. Alright, and here we are. Let's go ahead and see exactly what they're doing. Wait, how is Zerda our companion? Did we not sideboard? Oh no. Oh boy, that would suck. This isn't the best hand, but we can just cycle a Shark Typhoon for no value, and we do have a negate for Teferi, both very important things. Maybe I should have taken the draw. This is going to be a matchup about cards, and control matchups, you can often just be better off being on the draw instead of going first. But I'm going to shuffle, see if we actually manage to sideboard, or if we have to do something funny with Zerda. Alright, let's see. And let's also try and remember to actually grab our land. I know I'm bad about that sometimes. Yep. Oh, that sucks. Apparently we didn't sideboard at all. So, not exactly where I want to be, but it could be worse, I suppose. We still have access to an extra card. And turn. We will, if they don't Teferi or anything here, just go ahead and deploy a 1/1 Shark from Shark Typhoon. Although if they... No, Teferi ticks up to 5, not to 4. I was going to say, otherwise, maybe we don't even negate the Teferi, just make a Shark and Scorching Dragonfire it. Then hold up negate for things like Luca later. But alas, that is not how this works. And x equals 1. we'll just hold on to our fetch here. No real reason to use it yet. We'd like to draw a few more lands. We're going to eventually find an island with it anyway. And we also might end up scrying something to the bottom that we later want. So if we draw a scry land, get rid of something that we... So they're holding up Mystical Dispute. I think it's pretty obvious they have it. But that means I do need to get it out of their hand sooner than later anyway. Do imagine, yep, Mystical Dispute. I wish we had our own. But they're sitting happily in our sideboard, blissfully unaware that this is no longer game 1.
Don't worry, I got
There
this.
we go. Let's make sure that I haven't already scryed something, although I know I didn't. Alright, so apparently I need to learn how to sideboard with companions. Yeah. I really don't want
Time for plan B.
to have
As soon
to
as I think of one.
double spell to kill there to Fairy, so I'm instead going to deploy the Zerda. And simply end my turn here. If they Luca, we couldn't stop it anyway.
Oh, I've done the hero thing before.
So I think they're drawing towards their Luca here. Trying to find the second red source. No, they just wanted to reset the Teferi. Nothing I can do with it gone, sadly.
I am not going to sit this one out.
Right, so now I am going to fetch. I think it's more likely that we just don't want to shuffle a bad card in now. I still really don't want to, suppose here we're just losing to Luca no matter what at this point, I think. At least if it comes down already. No attack. So we're gonna draw cards, try and figure out what we can draw to deal. Hope our opponent keeps whiffing on that second red source. Although I doubt it with them having kept something on top. There we go. Now we can kill Teferi.
Mind and body should move
And start
onwards,
unlocking our answers
like
to
wind
their
and
other
wave.
problem permanents and cards. Our best draw here is a negate. So I will be using both Blitz and Scorching to deal with the current state of my opponent's board. Or not, if they don't tick that down. Let's see. I can play for a Mystical Dispute, so let's answer Teferi. Unlock instant speed.
It's only a matter of time.
Play Blast Zone. This way we can tick it up by 2 in case of a secondary Teferi. I suppose... No, there's no reason to deploy the Zerda here. That's fine. Next turn there is a reason. Hopefully our opponent just tries to hard cast an agent here and we get to Essence Scatter it. Although I imagine that their tap out threats are going to be a little bit better than anything we can muster. And our removal isn't the best in this kind of a matchup. So I don't think Jeskai Luca's a good matchup here, even if I did bring in the cards I'd wanted.
Keep an open mind.
Alright. They draw fires. I'm completely okay with the fires, even if I can't do anything about it either way. Teferi. That is unfortunate, but I'd rather blitz the Teferi than blitz the Narset.
Stand by and watch.
Not that I'm going to blitz either, I suppose. I'm going to tick up the Blast Zone.
No, I am not making this up as I go.
And I will blow that up on our turn, prevent them from drawing another card. We'll be using the Zerda to keep the tokens in check. Alright. Just debating a moment on deploying the Shark Typhoon, but I think that's incredibly dangerous. And potentially even ill-conceived. Grab another island, we have enough red for now. There we go. Blow it up. And unfortunately, they also get their scry still, but alas.
Only time will tell.
I was not prepared.
Don't plan on blocking with my shark token. I think I do. No. Yes? No. I'll just end my turn here. Hope to Essence Scatter. Keyword hope.
Trust me, you'll thank me later.
Ho ho! Back to square one, except we're down land drops. This is looking very, very bad for us. Alright. Hopefully our opponent swings all in. And we'll be able to answer Teferi. And a block there. See what happens. Alright, so we're not going to win if that Teferi sticks around anyway, so we need to get that out of the way. If our opponent happens to, yep, have a Shark Typhoon of their own, we're in big trouble. That's, oh yes, that's right, instant speed is shut off. So I think we're just straight up dead. I'm not sure what we can draw here. Notably, wouldn't have been good right now anyway. Oh, it's Arthas's intervention. And that's right. Alright, so yeah, we've just pretty convincingly lost this one. And that is it for today's video. Jeskai, and blue-white. All things we'd rather not play against. Alright, so this has been Zerda. That was today's video. And I hope to see you all again tomorrow, and hope to show you some wins tomorrow as well.